All right, all right. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast, real estate tip, where every single week I come to you delivering different tips, tactics, and strategies to help you get shit done in your overall real estate business to ensure that you are crushing and dominating your goals, creating the life that you know you truly want and deserve. And today, this one is for you team leaders, you brokerage owners, and hey, look, if you're an aspiring real estate agent, I'm aspiring future team leader, brokerage owner, this is going to be centered around how to effectively recruit agents, right? And we're going to put a heavy emphasis. Let me break that down because that's like saying, okay, well, how do I go out there and get buyer seller clients? Well, you got, of course, your lead gen strategies, your lead follow-up, and then we got the presentations themselves. So really what I'm here to talk about today is effective recruiting presentations. So the actual pitch itself, how to go out there and increase those conversions. And we'll hit on a little bit when it comes to, overall lead gen, lead follow-up with this. But this is going to be, very heavily when it comes to the presentation itself. So you can go out there and convert at a higher level and get these, stack up these agents in your organization and get them kicking ass and get them rock and rolling and get them producing. Now, if you are an individual agent, because I know we got a good mix of all of you watching and listening to this, look, when you're doing a buyer consultation, listing presentation, very similar to a recruiting presentation. So a lot of things that we talk about here, even though I'm going to use recruiting terms for team leaders and brokerage owners, all of this shit will help you, right? Like, there's this, trick we play in our own minds that, oh, because our situation is different. Oh, well, I'm a part-time agent or an individual agent, or I'm new, or I've been doing this for X amount of time, or I'm a team leader, or I'm a brokerage owner. My situation is different. Fundamentals are the fundamentals. Terminology might flip, interchange, but it's all the same process. At the end of the day, I'm either recruiting buyers, recruiting sellers, recruiting agents, or recruiting my leadership team to go out there and do these things for me, right? So with that being said, okay, how to go out there and recruit agents, and what we're going to do an emphasis on here is to how to nail that pitch, right? How to, set that appointment and nail that presentation. Because like if you get to the tables, but you can't convert into agents, then like the lead gen stuff just doesn't matter, right? Okay, so as we jump into here, now, just like I mentioned a moment ago, in order to get to the table, like in order to be able to present to them, you got to get them to the table. So here's just some top tips there. So just like, when you were working with buyers, when you were working with sellers, right? When you were an agent in the agent role, agent hat, okay, well, what did you have to do? You had to go out there and do consistent lead gen, consistent lead follow-up to go out there and get those buyer consultations, listing presentations. So the same thing here, right? Like if you're one of these that are like, oh, I'm just going to attract agents, hear this all the time from teams and brokerage owners, that are reaching out to me for help, that want to grow. They're unsatisfied with their growth. They're staying, small. They're stuck. But then I hear things like, and they almost say it like from a bragging position. I get it. I'm not trying to pick on anybody here. But when I hear things like, oh, well, we don't actually recruit. We just attract agents. All the agents that we have, we just attracted. And I'm like, and this is why you are staying small. Yeah, right. This is why you got a brokerage of 50 agents, right? Like versus the 500 you should be at. This is why you got a team of 10 agents instead of the 50 or 100 that you should be at to really be hitting massive volume and to remove vulnerabilities inside your organization. Yeah, right. If you are based on, so it's no different than an agent that comes to me that says, oh, all my business is through repeat referral business. That is why your business is small and it's staying small and your year-over-year growth is almost non-existent. Yeah, right. Now, when I say that, you might be like, well, no, I'm doing 30 deals a year through past client repeat referral. Okay. I mean, I guess we can all define it differently. To me, that to me is small. Yeah, right. Not that it's not good. It's better, much better than the average. Right. But like, okay, I want to keep growing, man. And I understand if I want to grow my business by, 20, 30% year over year. In the beginning years, we should be doubling. But then you get to a growth element where it gets harder to double. Like once you get to the point where you're doing 100 million a year in volume or 50 million, okay, it gets a little bit harder to go out there and double. But like in order to increase your business by going, 20% year over year, like, dude, like you're going to have an element of new acquisitions always coming in. And if you do not have intentional new acquisition elements, legs of your business, okay, you're going to stay small. It's just the reality of it. You're probably not even replacing, or maybe you're just replacing your churn rate. Those of you that don't know what a churn rate is in the team or brokerage world, that is, okay, like let's just say your churn is, that's how many agents that you're losing. Like what's your turnover rate on agent count year over year? Industry average is 30%. Okay, maybe you're doing better than industry average and your churn rate is 20%. Okay, if you have 10 agents and you don't recruit any new, that means you're going to have 8 by the end of the year. Yes, okay, if you're just attracting 3 agents per year, you're losing 2. Okay, you're only growing 1 agent a year. It's going to take you a long time to go out there and do anything meaningful in your business, as far as big growth, right? So we got to make sure that you have intentional strategies, treating this just like you did going after, just like you're preaching to your agents. What do we preach to our agents all the time? Do lead generation, lead follow-up, right? Setting these appointments. But a lot of times I find that team leaders, and brokerage owners are not even taking the same damn advice. They're always preaching to their agents, right? So then from there, or maybe you're in a position where you have recruiters. Okay, what are your recruiters doing for this stuff, right? Like, just like on the agent side, it's like, okay, 80% of our time is typically spent on just acquiring the client, right? Like, so making sure, my recommendation, have at least 3 different pillars, for agent recruiting. Then from there, what else are you going to do? Okay, you're not just generating the leads and taking the low-hanging fruit, right? Okay, you're going to have a CRM, you're going to put them in there, you're going to drip on them, you're going to constantly, stay in touch with them, building that rapport, building that connection. So the average agent makes a move every 2 years, right? So it's just a matter of time before they decide to make a move. Everybody eventually makes a move. There might be, a few of those cases, those anomalies out there where somebody doesn't make a move. But dude, that's the exception, not the rule, right? So the average real estate agent makes a move every 2 years. So you're not going to get all of them today. I mean, if you get this dialed in, you'll get more of them today. But, like, okay, what am I doing to stay in touch? So, okay, when you're like, oh, I'm not interested right now. Okay. I know at some point they're going to want to make a move. It's inevitable. At some point, pretty much everybody makes a move. So then at that point, it's like, okay, I want to be, what am I doing to position myself? So when they make a move, boom, I'm there. This is where we're going to have that follow-up. Okay, invite them to different events, hosting different masterminds, right? There's one of the ways I leverage this podcast, right? Is going out there and sending clips of this podcast to agents that I'm trying to recruit, where it's just, message. My goal is to have more of an impact on their business than their own team leader or their own brokerage owner. So when they do get to that point where like, oh, I'm ready for a move, boom, they're thinking of Joshua Smith, right? Because look, dude, I'm always recruiting, right? Like meaning I'm always growing. I'm always adding. You're never going to come to me. Like if you ever come to me and want to, join my real estate company here in Phoenix or the Phoenix metro area, I'm never going to sit there and say, oh, we're not hiring right now. I'm always hiring. Whether you're individual agent, whether you're a team leader, whether you're looking to join a team, I got options for all that. I'm looking for them every day long. I want talent. Speaking of that, if you're in this area and you're looking to make a move, like come talk to me. Like we'll get you dialed in. Guarantee you got better training, better support, better systems, better splits than anybody on the planet out there that you will find in our marketplace, or at least our marketplace. And help you grow your business and be more profitable than anywhere else. Guaranteed. Yeah, right. So if you want to schedule that with me, go to Revisto or soldbyrevisto.com. You'll see agent careers on there. You can schedule a Zoom call with me personally on that. So anyway, though, but what did I just do there? Right. So yeah, that was a plug for my own, real estate company out here in Phoenix. But what I'm doing there for you is like, okay, are you letting agents know that you want them? People need to know that you want them. Does everybody in your market know that you are recruiting top talent? Now, even if you're like, okay, maybe you're running a team division or a leads division and you're like, dude, we're capped out of agents. Always be recruiting there too. Because why? Okay, like you get somebody that's talented, that's badass, that like I'm always looking to replace my lowest converters, right? Like you're only strong as your weakest links, dude. Like I guarantee you got some weak links in your organization. Yeah, right. So maybe you don't have enough lead flow to take on more people. Well, I guarantee you got some, that are, you got some mediocrity in there. Guarantee it. Replace the mediocrity with the greats, right? Like always be recruiting, right? Well, Josh, I'm not looking to hire new staff. I'm always looking to hire new staff. Even if I don't have staff positions available, I'm always looking to hire new staff, because what if I get this rock star that can play somebody that's mediocre, then bam, so it's like, we're always recruiting, we're always hiring. So have at least your 3 pillars that you're consistently going after. Make sure everybody in your market is always knowing that you are looking for, amazing agents to join your organization. And then make sure, okay, like what do we do? Okay, I have just like I do at buyer sales, man, I got my drips, I've got our follow-up protocols, we've got all of that. So we have those same systems and processes in place. So have that in place. Okay, now let's make a transition, over and into, the actual, recruiting side of this, like meaning, okay, how do we set the recruiting appointment and how do we conduct that recruiting appointment? Okay, so then from there, when you're setting the appointment, look, you got to understand that people want to be sold. People want to make a move. People want to make a position. They want to make a transition, but they don't want to feel like they're being sold. And the agent community is hypersensitive to this, more so than the regular consumers. When I first got into agent recruiting, I was kind of excited because I spent so many years recruiting so many buyers and sellers. And I'm like, well, agents, man, we're salespeople. They're going to understand this. It's more business to business, B2B. I'm like, I'm not going to have the same sales resistance as I got from buyers and sellers. And quickly did I realize, holy shit, I was absolutely wrong on all of that. I'm like, dude, agents are more sensitive and more freaking sissies than buyers and sellers. And it just blows. It's still to this day, it blows my mind, right? Real estate agents will whine, bitch, and moan about, I don't know, consumers and how they treat them or how they act to them with, like giving them sales resistance or whatever. But then with agents, I'm like, dude, you are the worst, in most cases, right? So, and I'm not doing this to pick on agents. It's just the reality of the situation. So we have to be hyper aware of this. Yeah, right. Like agents are like, dude, like when you're going after recruiting them, okay, understand that they're even more sensitive than your typical buyers and sellers. They shut down to sales resistance more, right? They're just, you think salespeople would be okay with other people selling to them. Not in our industry, dude. They get freaking pissy, whiny, moany, if they're being sold, right? Like we're amongst a bunch of softies. That's okay. Right? Like you and I aren't soft. We're hard. Yeah, right. Like we're not soft, but we got to understand that. So then from there, okay, I'm going to adapt my strategy accordingly. So, okay, with that, like I'm going to remove sales resistance. I call it selling without selling. We want to be hypersensitive to this, right? This is the most effective way to set appointments and then convert those appointments is having this understanding. So I'm going to lead with value. I'm going to sell and I'm going to lead, but I'm going to make sure that they do not feel like they're being sold. Right. So here's an example. And this is like, I'm going to offer this sales pitch to all of you guys too. But when you're hearing this, I don't want you to think of it as me selling you, through this process. I want you to listen to this of how I construct this so you can do something similar with your recruiting to your agents. Right. So it goes something like this. Okay, look, hey, if you are a real estate agent, team leader, or brokerage owner, and your business is down, you're struggling in your business, or maybe your business is staying the same, or maybe it's growing a little bit, but it's not growing at the level that you want it to. Your potential is way up here, but you're operating way down here. And you don't know exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. I like to invite you to schedule 100% free, 100% zero pressure Zoom call with me personally. And on this Zoom coaching call, now it's going to be you and me personally. And this is going to be a coaching call where we're going to dissect and break down your business. And here's what's going to be discussed. We're going to look at what your business is currently at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what you are currently doing in your business, what your biggest obstacles currently are, right? And then from there, once I have the information that I need, then I'm going to construct and walk you through exactly what I recommend to do. If I'm you, if I'm in your shoes, here's exactly what I recommend that you do to get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So by the end of this coaching strategy call, you're going to know exactly what you must do to, again, get from where you're at to where you want to go. And look, at the end of this call, I'm going to spend a few minutes walking through, my coaching programs and seeing if, they're possibly a fit for you. If they are, great. And if they're not, that's okay too. I will make sure that this call is extremely powerful for you, that you know exactly how to get from where you're at to where you want to go. Look, you have absolutely nothing to lose, everything to gain from this. And as I mentioned earlier on, I've got a very strict, absolute no pressure policy. So you never have to worry about being pressured, pushed, pressured, sold, 100% free, 100% zero pressure. So if you'd like to schedule this, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Okay, so now this is, off of the quote unquote pitch. Let me go into why that was so powerful and why I construct that. Now, obviously, this is for the coaching program, but it's the same thing I do with my agents. Right? Like I would tell, okay, in a recruiting situation, my recruiting situation is the same thing as this. Right. So, but instead of, go through my possible coaching programs, hey, and at the end, I'm going to spend a couple minutes walking through, all the things that we have to offer as, insert team or brokerage that we have to offer as a real estate company, answer any questions that you have and see if we're, a possible fit for it. And if we are, great. And if not, that's okay too. Look, we can still be friends. And just so you know, everything I do is 100% zero pressure. Look, everybody that chooses to be here with our organization chooses to be here. We're all independent contractors. This isn't more like a you work for me, I work for you. We're independent contractors. We're more like business partners that choose to work together. Everybody that's here chooses to be here. Nobody's handcuffed. I don't want anybody that doesn't want to be here. So you never have to worry about me selling you. Because if I got to sell you to join us, I'm going to have to resell you to stay. And I don't want everybody that's here chooses to be here. So why is all of that stuff so important? Let me just construct and break this down, because you have to have the ability to get to the table. Whether that's a Zoom call. I prefer to do all my recruiting through Zoom calls before, I'll do it in person if we need to, but from efficiency, plus I have higher conversion rates because people feel a little bit more comfortable on a Zoom call, than they will meeting face to face, and whatnot. Plus, if your office location isn't exactly in their location, it creates a limiting belief out of the gate that they need a location there, which they don't. Right. So I just find, scheduling these Zoom calls a win-win all the way around from efficiency and effectiveness. But if we can't get to the Zoom call, right, then it's going to be ineffective, right? So we got to get to the call, get to the presentation first. So then from there, as we construct that, like I was very intentional about selling the value of why they should show up. Right? Like you got to sell the value. I mean, what do most people's pitch do? Oh, well, if you think about making a move, I'd like to sit down and walk through all the amazing shit we have to offer for you. While we're like, essentially what we're, the average agent or average team or brokerage is saying is, we'd like to talk to you about how awesome we are and why you should join us. That means nothing to them. They don't give a shit about features, benefits. They don't care about how cool your office is, all the systems that you have to offer. They don't care about any of that shit. You're selling the wrong things. What do they care about? And the only thing that they care about is who can get them from where they're at to where they want to go, who can get them from pain to pleasure. It's all sales are. That's all anybody cares about is getting from the pain to the pleasure. Whoever can articulate that, the better. Now, for me to get the meeting to be able to articulate, I'm getting from pain and pleasure, right? I got to sell the value in why they should sit down and talk with me in the first place. Now, here's the cool thing. My be doing that and through my, overall fun, like I get people just booking these in droves with me. I have 4 or 5 of these between, my coaching program and recruiting, conversations every single day of just people like sign up for these meetings. Now I'm going to do other things. I'm going after cross sales. We're doing local events. We're going after new agents that are in school. Again, we have our different strategies, but all of these, it's selling value of why they should have a conversation with us. Value of getting them from their pain to their pleasure, right? It's thinking about this of what's in it for them, right? That's all they care about, right? So but then you've got to also remove sales resistance. So if they feel like they're going to be pushed, pressured, or hassled, they're not like, number one, you're going to have low appointment set rates, and then you're going to have low show up rates, right? You got to make them feel extremely comfortable, right? Making them feel like, okay, like that's why I stress so heavily. Hey, 100% free, 100% zero pressure. That's why I bring that up multiple times throughout that. And I hold true to that. Look, like if in your real estate business, if you're struggling, if you're stuck, if you're not getting where you want to do, and you want to take advantage of one of these calls with me, like, dude, like at no point in time am I going to hard push you. I'm going to make you feel comfortable, right? It's going to feel like a great natural conversation. Now my conversions are through the roof because I'm able to articulate how I can get you from where you're at to where you want to go. The results far exceed, the value far exceeds the price. So yeah, I convert like 87% of my recruiting and coaching calls that I do with these initially, because people are like, hell yes, I need to move forward with this because you articulate that so well. That's what we need you to be doing, in your recruiting presentations. But if you do not get them to show up, if you can't set them and you can't get them to show up, then I don't care how good of a pitcher you are. None of that stuff matters. Okay. Then from there, what are we walking through for the recruiting presentation itself? Now we're going to hold true to this framework. Right. So, and if you go to gsdmode.com/Zoom call. I want you guys to all go there. You don't have to at this second. I know a lot of you are listening to this, not watching this, but, I'm not saying to sign up for this. If you want to sign up for me to help you with everything we just talked about, cool. Right. But why don't you see what I have on that form? What am I asking them? This allows me to be prepared for the call, right? This is what I need. Okay. Where their business is currently at, where they want to go in the next 12 months. Right now, I'm also going to find out where they want to go long term. But out of the gate, I want to see where they're at, where their 12-month goal is, what their current biggest obstacles are. The only difference between my recruiting page for agent recruiting versus the coaching page that you're on right now, everything is exactly the same, other than where I ask in there of, what are you looking for in a real estate coach? I ask, what are the top things that you're looking for in a real estate company? So I can see what those things are, but then also I can, if they say something that, we don't offer. Like if I have somebody come into my real estate company and they're saying, I don't know, like maybe they, having office space, but they're in a location where, I mean, I have bricks and mortar office space, but Phoenix Metro is huge, 38 cities. I don't have an office space in each one of those. My closest office might be 30 minutes from them. Okay. Then I might know that I got to really, articulate the value of how we're able to run, without needing that local bricks and mortar. Like, again, like we can anticipate what those potential objections are going to be before we jump on that call. Right. So then from there, when we jump on the call, right? So we're jumping on the call. First thing I'm going to ask always is, hey, number one, I just thank them. Hey, I really appreciate you scheduling this. I'm excited to be talking to you. And hey, just out of curiosity, how did you hear about us? How'd you hear about me? How'd you hear about us? Right. So then from there, for marketing purposes, plus, can create a connection point. It can, because a lot of times this can also lead to a little bit deeper the pain. Well, I've been really struggling in my business currently where I'm at. So I started looking, started Googling other top, discovered you, found you. Yeah, right. Okay. So then from there, hey, I really appreciate that. And with that being said, let's just jump on and let's just dive in. So let's just say they're, been in the business 2 years. So what, say you've been in the business now for 2 years. I mean, what'd you do? What'd you do prior to getting into real estate? And what led you to real estate? It's kind of like a mini podcast interview. Like if you're watching my podcast interview, I'm walking into like, what'd you do before? And like, what led you into real estate? Well, when you first got into real estate, like what kind of your dreams, goals, and visions for what you wanted to create in this business? Because a lot of people like allow those to get tainted by their negative experiences. I want to get people redreaming, because here's what we need to do. We need to get them living in the pain they're currently experiencing, and they're all experiencing a pain. They would not be on this call with you if they weren't experiencing a pain, right? It's like where people go, oh no, I'm happy where I'm at. Think of it this way. If you were truly happy in your marriage, you probably wouldn't be out checking out dating websites. Like, dude, I'm truly happy in my marriage, ecstatic in my marriage. Been with my wife since we were 16 years old. The only chick I've ever dated, whatever. I have never been on a dating website, never had an account on dating. Like, I don't even know what the fucking names of dating websites are. I don't know any of that shit. Why? Because I'm ecstatic in my marriage, right? So if they're out there looking, well, then there's usually something that's an underlying issue that they're unsatisfied with. If they're not telling you, it's because they do not feel safe and comfortable and vulnerable enough with you to share. Your job is to make them, you got to disarm sales resistance. You got to get them feel comfortable. Like you want them sharing those deep core things. So I'm going to ask them okay, well, right now, I mean, it looks like you closed about, 4 deals in the last 12 months. So, I mean, the good news is you're closing some deals, but let me ask you this. I mean, how is this impacting you? And not just on a business level, but on a personal level. I mean, how is this impacting you personally? Well, my wife just had to go back to work full time, and we're living paycheck to paycheck. I'm barely able to provide for our kids. I'm sick and tired of living paycheck to paycheck. I feel, like less of a husband, a father, a mate. Like I want to get to the pain, right? So you identify the pain that they're living in. You identify the pleasure that they want to get to, right? So sales all pain and pleasure. Pain, pleasure, you create this gap. Another way it's, sold by, high ticket sales. It's common for people to call it the heaven and the hell, right? So the hell they're experiencing, the heaven they want to get to. So whatever registers best in your mind, right? So the pain and pleasure, but we got to get that living in their mind, right? So the pain and the pleasure, what's creating the pain, the pleasure they want to get to. Now, my job, the reason why it's so important for us to identify this is because it's my job during that recruiting presentation to articulate how I'm the best guy to get them from that pain, to get them that pleasure. Because that's all they care about. They do not give a shit at how fancy your office is. They don't care what systems you provide them. They don't even care what freaking splits you are. If you're like, oh, I do my splits, people aren't joining because of my splits. No, you're not selling enough value. Dude, it is not a split thing. It is a recruit, like your recruiting presentation just blows ass, right? It just sucks. And I apologize to, be so blunt, but it's the reality of the situation, right? It ain't the splits. At least in 99.9% of the cases, right? People like to hide behind that, but it's kind of like when an agent, maybe in your brokerage or team comes to you and they're like, well, man, I'm losing your listing price. I can't sell more real estate because all these discounters in my marketplace. Okay. Yeah. Like, is that true? Right. Or is it just that they haven't figured out how to articulate their value correctly? Yeah, my guess is the latter. Well, I know for a fact it's the latter, right? So then with that, so when we're going through this, okay, but not only do I need to have awareness of that pain and pleasure, I need to get them to live in that, get them to see that, right? So then from there, we need to get them to admit that it's time that they need to change. We don't want to speak to people. We need to get them to admit it's time for a change. So if they're like, if I ask them and I ask them just, legitimate questions that are kind of hard for them that they need to know and they need to understand. But it's like, well, let me ask you this, if your situation didn't change and you just repeated this same year over year, which is what most do in our industry, they just repeat the same year for, 20, 30 years straight. It's why, the average realtor would make more money working at McDonald's than they do full time in this industry. So if you were to repeat, this same year over and over and over, like how would that then impact you? And if there's, they're experiencing that pain, usually, the vast majority of the time, that's unacceptable. I can't have that happen. That just can't be the reality of the situation. Okay, well then it sounds to me like, maybe it's time for a change in, whether it be changing your strategy, whether so it sounds to me like, if you can't repeat the same year and the over and over and over, sounds to me like, it's definitely time for change. Would you agree? Yeah, no, I definitely got to change something up. Cool. Right? Because all I'm trying to get them and walking them through is, hey, definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result, right? So do you want to be delusional? Do you want to be insane? Your current environment, your current knowledge, your current environment, your current support system has allowed you to get to where you're at, but it's not going to get you where you want to go, right? So what I'm trying to articulate here is, hey, I'm the change. I am the change that you need. Now, then from there, I'm going to walk them through what they need to do to get from where they're at to where they want to go. And I'll give them the whole roadmap. This is where the coaching, kind of component comes in, where it's like, because like, look, if you can't articulate your agents with a roadmap of how to get to where they want to go, to where from where that to where they want to go, you probably have other problems inside your brokerage, right? Like, you got to be able to guide your agents to success, right? So hopefully, assuming that you know how to do this, right? Because if you don't, then maybe we probably should reassess why we're a team or a brokerage, right? Through that. But in most cases, I'm guessing that you know how to get them from where they're at to where they want to go, right? So then from there, I'm just going to articulate that to them. Now, here's the thing is, so here's what we got to do. Okay, so if I'm you, here's exactly what I would be doing to get from where you're at. Here's how I change up your strategy. Here's what I'd be doing. Now, then people are like, well, Josh, like if you just give them the roadmap, then why would they join me? Because they're going to need you to be. You're going to show them what to do. They're going to need you to understand how to do it. And this is then where your features and benefits come in. So at the end, like I'll spend about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes max at the end of my recruiting presentation, talking about splits and all the things that we offer. But like the first 50 minutes just into them, just creating this gap, creating the roadmap, right? So they can visualize. I want them living in the pain, living in the pleasure, living in the heaven, living in the hell, right? Get them to admit that it's time for a change, right? Then I'm going to articulate how they're going to get from where they're, what they need to do to get from where they're at to where they want to go. Then from there, right, as we get to the end of this last 10 minutes is walking through, okay, the features and benefits that we offer them. But when I'm selling the features and benefits, it's not like, oh, here's our CRM. I'm speaking to how those features, the things that we offer are going to lead to ensuring that they get the results that they want. So like all I'm selling is results, not features and benefits, results, but results that they want and need. And so I'm going to speak to, hey, not of, oh, well, here's how you close 50 deals in the next 12 months. Hey, here's how we get it so your wife can stay at home again with the kids, which I know that you want. Here's how we can get you making X amount of dollars so you can, get your wife staying at home and be able to provide for your wife and for your kids. So you guys aren't struggling and you can look in the mirror and feel proud of the man, the husband, and the father that you are. I'm not just speaking of here's how we get 50 deals. Here's how we get to 200. Like nobody gives a fuck about that, right? That there's a deeper underlying meaning to what they're trying to, go out there and do. And this is how you change the lives of people inside your brokerages, right? Like people, I always get these brokerage owners or team leaders like, how do I motivate people? You get them living in their heaven and hell, right? Their pain and pleasure, and you help them articulate the roadmap to get to the pain and pleasure. You get them out of delusion, right? Like you're going to experience one or two pains. You're going to experience the pain of your current situation, the status quo, just like you in your business right now. I'm talking and looking at you guys right now, speaking to you. If you don't make the necessary changes that you must make in your business for your business to turn around and change, you're going to continue to experience the same hell or the same pains that you're experiencing right now. Our minds allow us to get so damn delusional, though, to thinking that things are going to get different, and we're just, then we all of a sudden start playing off hope and prayer, and it just isn't effective. It's not going to work. Like we got to quit being delusional. So we need to get our agents to not be delusional. So I'll just, straight up ask them, hey, you're going to experience one or two pains, either the pain of staying in the situation that you're in right now, or the pain of going through and doing the work that you need to do that's necessary to change your situation. Hey, I'm here to support you either way. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to support you either way. I just need you to tell me, and most importantly, to commit to yourself on which pain would you rather experience so I know how to best support you. Well, no, I can't stay where I'm at. I need to go over here. I need my kids start college in 2 years. I need to be funding their college. I can't not. Okay, good. Now here's what you need to do. Make those reality. I'm going to support you to those. I'm committed to supporting you with those. I need you to commit to doing the work, right? So then those check-ins, it's, hey man, how are you doing on getting your kids college fund, college funded? Not how are you doing on getting those 50 deals, right? Like get them living in that pain and pleasure. But then because if their goals aren't their own and they don't truly see why those goals, the pain that they're gonna have to go through to make those goals a reality is worth the payoff, then they're not going to execute on. Dude, until the pain of the status quo outweighs the pain of the bullshit we have to go through to make our situation different. And if we don't visualize that, we don't get people living in that, we don't understand the concept of even learning this for our own selves to take action, we're not going to take action. This is why people's health pretty much stays the same. So people's business pretty much stays the same. People's relationships pretty much stay the same. This is why people just live these same mediocre lives year after year after year with little to no change. And usually if there is change, it's even more negative change, not change for the better, because they're not dealing in realities and they don't have that. Like it's our job to lead our people and get them to deal in realities, right? And then articulate that roadmap and then hold them accountable, if you will, through having the right systems in place, not hand holding, but through systems, hold them accountable to executing on what they need to execute through and on, right? So then from there, because that pain and pleasure, that creates urgency. So if they're like, well, I need to think about it, right? Like, okay, well, number one, I know if somebody said they want to think about it, they're just lacking clarity on I missed something on selling the value, or they're lacking clarity to be able to make an informed decision. So that's an easy thing to overcome. Right? Like when somebody said, I don't think about it, the question I always ask is, well, hey, let me ask you this. Have you ever spent, a long time thinking about a decision and then you eventually made the decision and then you still found out it was a terrible decision? I find when it comes to making decisions, it's not necessarily the time. It's us getting clarity on the information that we need to make the best decision. So when you're telling me that you need to think about it, usually I find that is you lacking clarity on something that, we didn't cover today, or a concern that's in your mind right now as to why this might be the best fit for you. So maybe we, instead of taking more time, maybe we just need to have a little bit deeper conversation about what that concern is. And hey, just so you know, I mean, everything I do is zero pressure, so I'm not here to try to hard sell you. We may be a fit for you or not a fit for you, but I want to make sure by the end of this conversation today, you have all the information that you need, whether this is a yes or a no. So with that being said, what's going on in your mind right now that's creating this hesitation? So I'm going to get them to open up. Yeah, right. Neutral tone. Yeah, right. We're not excited, not down. Yeah, right. But we have to know how to navigate those conversations to remove, get them back out of fight or flight, get them out of passive listening mode, back into active listening mode. So then, boom, we can navigate that conversation the way that we need to navigate that conversation. Right. But whoever, I just want you to understand this, whoever can articulate, they're the best guy to get them from where they're at to where they want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner is the one that is going to be victorious at winning this overall process. So nail this in, and this is the most effective way to recruit. Like if you are, again, nobody gives two shits about like the typical recruit that I say, oh, let me go show you a tour of the office. Okay, let me pull all these fancy brochures showing all the cool shit that we offer and what our splits are and how we get the best splits and we get the best. Like nobody, they're not even listening to that. All they're thinking about is, dude, I'm experiencing this pain. I want to get to this pleasure. Who can get me from there? And when you're not even taking the time, I think one of the reasons why, I've always been, really good at recruiting, whether it be buyers, sellers, or agents, or even at a very high level with my coaching clients, is because they know and understand and they know very quickly that I give way more of a shit about them than pretty much everybody else. Like I truly care about my agents. I truly care about my coaching clients, right? It's not about me. It's about them. So if you are not taking the time to ask about them, right now, you're probably not intentionally doing this, but if you're making this all about you and your company, how great we are and how whatever, and you're not taking the time to get to know about them and their current situation and what they need help with, right? Like you just articulated to them that they're just a number, that you don't give a shit about them, right? And they're going to go with, so then it's like, well, I don't understand. I'm losing these competitors over here. They don't offer as much as we offer. We're better, but I'm losing them. Well, they probably did a better job at showing the people that they care. Right? Like you're better off just throwing all that bullshit out the window, your current recruiting presentation, and not even bringing that stuff up and just articulate, find out what they're paying, what their pleasure is, articulate you're the best guy to get from where they're at to where they want to go. And then boom, right? Like that's why, I only spend about 5 to 10 minutes talking about the freaking splits, talk about the other shit. Cause at the end of the day, nobody cares. Now you might think that they care, but it's because you haven't shared the value. If I can show them how to go from where they're at to where they want to go, because in that plan, I'm already articulating commission splits. I'm already articulating all of that. I already know, because like all they care about is, dude, I need to get to my 200 grand a year netting so that I can get my wife not working. I can go out there and take the vacations. I can look in the mirror and be proud as the husband or the father, or, insert, whatever their goals are. I'm going to speak specifically their goals. I'm already hedging for that. I already know what my splits are going to be. So I'm busy when I'm walking them through what they're going to have to do. I'm already hedging for that. So then we're like, oh, what are the fees? I already got the fees covered, dude. Like when we went through your plan that I already checked with you, I already built in what those fees are going to be. So that those are the amount of efforts and actions after we do the fees. Now here's what the fees are, but these fees aren't going to be in addition to what I articulate, because I already got them to see how that plan is a reality for them, because I spend time of what's their situation, what's their hours, what are their other commitments. So I make a plan that's realistic, that's the most effective, efficient, and realistic to accomplish their goals. They can see the plan. Now they can visualize going from the pain to pleasure, right? So I'm the first person they met with that. They can visualize, they can see it, they can taste it, they can touch it. They're ready to start executing on it. And it's like, dude, I already got the splits hedged in there. Now I'll tell them what the splits are, but it's like, that's already part of your plan that you've already been able to see in your head. So I've already calculated that in there based on what your average commission is, based on this, then boom. It's just like, dude, people can go down the street and get maybe a better deal than they can with me. I don't know. I've tried to have commission structures where I hedge for all of that. I'm not aware of any better place where people can get better coaching support systems and better fees in my market than me. I try to be hyper competitive on all of that, but I know if I ever lose somebody, it's not because of that, or it's not because I don't have a fancy office or not, or it's not, right. It's just not it's not features and benefits, it's results. I know I'm just beating this to death and getting repetitive here and probably being annoying, but I need you to understand that. So damn powerful. All right, so this is how you go out there and recruit at a very high level. I hope that this has been beneficial. I hope this is powerful. Again, if you are stuck in your business and you still do not know exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go, I invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure Zoom call with me personally. So quick timeout. If you're listening to this again, this is just a reminder of the pitch that you can go through with your agents, but I'm going to pitch you on it right now, if you will, if you want to call it a pitch. I don't look at it as a pitch. It's delivering value and pouring into you. That's a huge value added, nothing to lose, nothing to lose, everything to gain value for you. But so then from there, if you want me to sit down on a Zoom call together, go through a free strategy coaching call, talking about where your business is at, 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what you're currently doing, what your biggest pain points are, and obstacles are, then I'm going to articulate a roadmap, a game plan of exactly what to do to get you from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, profitable manner possible. And then from there, we're going to spend 10 minutes of that call going through, my coaching program, how it works, how it entails, see if it's a possible fit for you. And if it is, great. If not, that's okay too. Even if it never is, isn't at all, and you just never want anything to do with that or me with any of that, I will still make sure that this strategy coaching call is massively beneficial, massively powerful for you. Just two things have to happen, right? Number one, you got to schedule it. Number two, you got to show up. So when I say you got to show up, you're going to have a reschedule link. So if something comes up day before, night before you get sick, you need to reschedule. I get that. I understand that. But if you no-show me, I've got a very strict policy with this. And just so you guys know too, this isn't just for these. This is also for agent recruits, and whatever in my business. I got a very strict, if you no-show me, we're probably never going to have a conversation again, unless you pay for that conversation. Like as far as helping you for free is out the window because you disrespected me, you disrespected my time. So I'm not going to respect your time. Now I'm happy to take the time away from my business, happy to take the time away from my family, away from my businesses and so forth to pour into you and help you. And I will, I got you back. I got you covered. I will help you massively on this. But if you no-show me, I keep a spreadsheet of this. And dude, I had 2 last week that just did this to me, right? It happens, because I have about what is it right now? I have just under a 13% no-show rate. So it's about 12.7%. I'm trying to go off memory right now. No, they just stand me up to show me. These are people that I was like, dude, I would have changed their life. Now, most of them that no-show me are you can tell why they're struggling. Right? Only done 3 deals. But I don't know what to do. I don't know, whatever. And then I'm like, okay. And then you just no-show the guy that was going to help you get dialed in, and but then from there, you're blacklisted. right? I'm going to remember it. I promise you, I'm going to remember it because I honor time more than anything. I respect your time. I will pour into you. I will not waste your time. I just ask the same to me. But if you no-show me, you're not going to be able to ever book one of these again. You can watch the podcast for free help, but there's no element of free help that you're ever going to get from me. And I will remember your name. I'm like a fucking elephant. You can ask my wife, like, I just remember details on everything, dude. I'm like the Rain Man when it comes out, I guess. Yeah, I remember shit. But then from there, as long as you show up, we will get you dialed in. I do the same thing with my agent recruits, you guys. I had one last week. She no-shows me. Messages me 30 minutes later. Oh, hey, I'm sorry. I was running late. Can we still jump on? Nope. Sorry. We're not a fit for you. Go find somebody else. Right? You got to know what you'll tolerate and what you won't tolerate. And if you tolerate behavior like that, people will treat you based on what you tolerate. So I have very strict parameters that I meet. Like, I don't want to get like, if you show up on time, to me, that's already late. Like on these calls, like, I show up 5 minutes early, for me every time. Like, I'll never not be 5 minutes early. So I show up early, somebody's 5 minutes late, okay, I'm cool. Or sorry, if somebody's like on time, in my mind, so I'm already testing my people, right? Like when it comes to, agents, especially if they're like joining my team division where I'm giving them leads, like all of this stuff is little micro tests. Okay, the right person would show up 5 minutes early because I just told them, hey, I'm going to be there 5 minutes early. So if you want to jump on early and jam a little early, like I'll be there 5 minutes early because I believe in being, if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late. So then from there, but if you jump on, just make sure you're on time. Because if you are not there within 5 minutes, if you're over 5 minutes late, even if you jump on at 5 minutes and 1 second, I'm out, I'm gone. So I articulate that to them. I let them know that. So all of these things are little micro tests, and I do the same thing with my coaching program, like, are these free calls that I'm doing with you guys and helping you out in your business, because like, look, I'm here to help those that are committed, but if you can't commit to me my time, just have those stipulations, right? And be very adhere to those because people will always tolerate and treat you based on the way that you allow them to treat you. So if you're going to schedule this meet, make sure you show up. You can do that by www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. All right, guys, hope that this is helpful. Go out there and start recruiting the shit out of some agents in your organization. Create that team and brokerage that you've always wanted and that you deserve. Keep murdering it. Keep crushing it. We'll see you next time. Peace.